this is the time you're used to seeing me, but 7 o'clock, Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, at least this week. And I post every Sunday and tell you when I'm going to be live, but those are the ones I'm shooting for. Sometimes things come into play and then I can't make it, but usually I can. So this week's product, and it changes each week. I try and focus on something different so that you can see how you can use it, so that you don't just buy it and use it once and think, well, that was silly, I made one card. I want you to be able to, if I suggest something or show you something, I want you to get the most use out of it. So I hope that you have been following along, and I also hope that you are, when you go to the website, caramiller.com, super simple. I guess it's not on here. I'll have to work on that. It's just easy. It's caramiller.com, and you will see a place to sign up for the newsletter. And every Sunday night I send out the newsletter, hey Shannon, with a card that I've not shown. It has a tutorial for a card that I don't show anywhere but in my newsletter. And this is this week's card using this week's products. And the products this week aren't a bundle. They're nothing that Stampin' Up! Put together. There's something I put together because I like them all. And I couldn't pick just one. So we're using the Happy Hedgehogs. Now this does come, and there's a punch available. I don't have the punch because I didn't order it, and I wish I did, but I didn't. The punch is super cute. It just does the outline of the hedgehog. So I didn't do it, but there is a punch. So there's that. But we're also going to use mostly the basic border dies. Now let me bring you down so that you can see them. These are the basic border dies. They're really cool. And it's stuck together. So they're kind of like, they look like, okay, that's weird. They just look like metal strips. But they give you these awesome edges to your card. So for example, on this card, the one in the newsletter, this used this one, right? And it looks stitched and super cute. Super easy. And the good thing about them is they do fit in the mini machine. I told you I love that mini machine. And there's, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, there's 6 different ones in here. So tonight, in tonight's card, we are using this one. So let me move these guys out of the way. And then I had to bring back an oldie but goodie that we used last week because I needed one more thing. Let me move this out of the way. We're also going to use, so if you're wondering, well, do I really need more than one? This is a die set that I have used and used and used already. And I've only been back at Stampin' Up! For a few weeks. So this one gives you these great rectangles. I couldn't think of the shape. Or these kind of other, I don't know what their shapes are, but this is the one we're using tonight. Again, fits in the mini. And here is tonight's card. So this is the newsletter card, using the hedgehogs. Finding a friend is the best discovery of all. Ready for a note. And then this one, this is tonight's card. I am focusing on pretty right now. I don't know. Some of you may not be pretty, and these are not masculine. These are pretty. I might find a masculine or two that we can work on later this week. This uses this die right here. And this die right here. So let's get to work and I'll show you what you're going to do. First things first, you're going to start with your card base, which is our 8.5 by 11, cut in half, and it's going to give us 8.5 across here, 5.5 down here, and I'm going to score at 4 1/4. Okay? All right. Hold that little baby up. And that's my card base, right? That's where my card's going to start to build on. This is like the pizza crust of your pizza. Then I am using the beautiful Waves Designer Series paper. It's so pretty. Remember we looked at the blue, but I like this kind of yellowy with a little bit of pink. So pretty. Okay? So we're going to stick that down. We're not getting carried away. We're just going to stick it on down to the front of our card. This is a 4 by 5 1/4. And I want the pink to show up, so I'm going to go this way. And I'm going to line this up, get it unstuck to my fingers so that my space is the same all the way around. There we go. Hi, Vicki. Hello. Oh, isn't it great? And it won't be here forever. It won't. When it's gone, it's gone. It's gorgeous. Love that paper. Okay, so there we are. Now, you're going to need 2 pieces. One is 1.5 by 5 1/4. It's going to go all the way across. And in fact, as I'm saying that out loud, I'm like, I cut this too long. It should be 5 1/4. I feel like it's 5 1/2. Let me check. Yep, 5 1/4. I said it right, I just didn't cut it right. Okay, so here's the trick. You are going to line this up, and you want the peaks of this die to be right along the edge, okay? Now, what are the odds that it's going to stay like that when I try and put it in my machine? Slim and none. So that's where my favorite tip comes in. I either use Post-it notes like this or the Post-it flags. I am out of flags. I did order some from Amazon the other day, and if you read the newsletter, I gave you the link to the ones I just ordered. But this will work, and I'm going to use 2 of these. And you can use these again and again. And make sure that this stays right where I want it, okay? So I want the pointy part to be right, I don't want it over the edge or it won't work. And then I'm going to take my number 1, number 2, add this on. Here, don't stick to anything. And you can kind of let it stick down once you get it where you want it using that Post-it note. And now it's not going anywhere, right? So much simpler. Okay, then put this down. And the key to making sure this is going to fit is you don't want all 3 together. You want to line up your pieces so they're a little bit off, so that then they fit in your machine, okay? And then you just crank it in. I try not to wiggle this table. Doo-doo-doo. Crank away. It might make some clanky noises, don't worry. It's okay. Crank, crank, crank. Okay. And then peel off your Post-it note. And I just save mine because I'm going to use it again. Take this. And now I have this. I also have this cool piece, which I could use for another card, so save that, don't toss it. And then this is going to go right across here. And it gives it almost like a valance look on a curtain, but it's really subtle because we're using this light colored feminine paper. Had I flipped and used the other side, you'd get a totally different look, right? So if I'd use that side, you'd get a totally different view. All right. So, but I'm not going to stick this down yet because I'm going to stamp on it. And I am going to stamp from here. It's so nice of you to be so nice. And part of the reason that this card looks so feminine is that I'm not using black. I'm using crumb cake, which is a really subtle, light color ink, but I like the way it looks. So I'm going to grab myself. It's so nice of you to be so nice. And I'm going to put that on the right-hand side of this die that we just cut out. Right? Now, I'm going to move my ink. Now I'm going to put this down right along. And I left a little bit of the Designer Series paper to show at the top. You don't have to. The first time I did it, I wasn't going to leave a piece, but then I decided it kind of looked cool, so I did. All right? Then it's time for this part of my card. So I'm going to take a piece of basic white, And I decide a couple of options. You can stamp first, but because I need to know exactly how much space I have, I'm going to cut this out first. All right? Stick this down. One should do. And then number 1, number 2, paper, and again, off a little. And then I need the number 2 at the top. Load you in. Whoopsie, don't get carried away. Okay. And crank away. Now to all my Cricut friends out there, I hope you haven't, written me up as the Cricut convert, but I tell you, is this not a gazillion times faster than finding the image, loading it in, loading the mat, getting it? It is. It really is faster. So to just make a sweet little card, this is way quicker. And this is the look that I talked about this a while ago. When you put one of these through the die cut machine, not only does it cut it, it like embosses the edges. You don't get this out of a Cricut. You just don't. So I'm not dissing my Cricut. It still has a purpose. But for this simple card, this is way simpler. All right, I am going to take, and what I did was I lined up, let me start fresh because I've kind of cheated on this one. Let me go to the beginning, but I need to make sure my stamps are clean. Remember, this is the Stamp and Scrub of this machine, this little bugger. I don't like to get inky, and this lets me not get inky. So I'm going to clean you off. Hold on. So you have a wet side and a dry side, right? All right, so there are our 2 stamps all clean. So let me show you what the deal is. Make sure they're dry. I'm going to flip them over, and I figure out where are they going to go to give me the look that I want on this little piece that I've cut out, this stitched shape. And I figure out where this is going to go. I want it over as far as I can, but I want him to be sniffing the toadstool. Okay? And then I'm going to take my block and press it down and pick up the 2 pieces. And now I'm ready to ink it up. Make sure it's good and stuck. More crumb cake. The beauty of Stampin' Up! Stamp pads, when they're stored with the ink upside down. Did you see how that went? Upside down. So all the ink is at the top of your ink pad when you open it. So you always have a nice juicy ink pad. Unless, of course, you need to re-ink it, in which case we could do that. I'm going to put that down. Make sure it's where I said I wanted it. And give a nice solid press, no rocking. And there is my hedgehog sniffing at the toadstool. Right? Isn't that cute? I'm going to add one more thing, which is the itty bitty little butterfly that's in this stamp set as well. And he's going to go with crumb cake, and then I'm going to bring in my favorite coloring tool, which is, you'd think it would be blends or markers. It's really the watercolor pencils. They truly are my favorite. And I want this little baby butterfly right there. So now I've made like this kind of scene, but I love the subtlety of it. I don't want to, I'm going to fess up on my sample card. I tried coloring in the hedgehog and I really didn't like it. I don't know if I can tear this off and show it to you. I might be able to. So I fussy cut a hedgehog and put it on top. See, I didn't like him. I didn't like the way it looked. So I just stamped another one, popped it on top with some seal, and stuck it down. And unless I told you, you wouldn't have known. Now I could have put him with some dimensionals and made him really pop off the page, right? Let me show you how that looks too. So if you want a fussy cut or you're using the punch, you can give him a little bit more dimension on your card if you like. The fussy cutting isn't tough, and if you are new to me and you're saying, I don't know what fussy cut means, lady, don't use those terms. I don't know what you're talking about. It means taking your snips, your scissors, and simply cutting around the stamped image. It's fussy cutting, right? So then I put this guy back on here. So there is if you want more dimension, you can do that. He was a boo-boo, but we fixed him. So we have no boo-boos tonight. We're good. I am going to take some Calypso Coral because I've got a little bit of pink in the front of my card, right? And I'm just going to highlight the dots on my mushroom. So the reason I love the watercolor pencil is it's kind of forgiving. It gives you a little bit of opportunity to play. I'm going to go under here and color this in. And I'm not worrying about if there's any pencil marks, like streaks or anything, because then I'm going to bring in the blender pen and I'm going to blend this together. Now I'm not scrubbing. If you scrub, your paper will kind of ball up and look like you scrubbed it. So just a little bit, gentle. Just kind of go over that. You can add more if you want. Now, notice this. Look at this one. See what I did here? All right, let me show you how I got that. Can you see that okay? Let's bring it up so you can see it. There's a little bit of the green. All right, so I used Old Olive. And again, I used the stamp set to help me. It gives the highlights right there, and I just put down a little bit of color. Same thing with the grass, a little bit. Now you could leave it like that, or bring in your blender pen. They come in a pack of 3. They are Stampin' Up! Missy, there's 2 kinds. They have 2 options. I'm using the older original colors. And then there's also a new pack, because, I have to have them all, that give you new watercolor colors. So this one has, you can see they're good complements of each other. The blender pen is the magic. And you just go in here, and it literally blends your color with a little bit. It doesn't take much. You don't need a watercolor brush that gets it too wet. It's just a little. Now let me show you one more trick. If I take this, just a scrap piece, and I take my watercolor pencil and lay down some color, scribble on the paper. Then take my blender pen, I can pick up some of that color. See now my blender pen, come on, you can, come on. I'm waiting for you to come into focus. It doesn't want to. But this pen now has color on it. And so then I can do, look, isn't that cool? And now I've colored in the stem and I'm in such control. So I want to change color. That doesn't mean I need to throw this away. It means I take it and I just wipe it on my scrap paper until the color is gone. Color's gone, right? Now I'm going to take my pink, because I want my butterfly to be pink, but I want more control than I can have with a pencil. So we're going to put some more color down. This is Flirty, no it isn't, Calypso Coral, sorry. And then I'm going to pick up a little color. And I'm going to come up and I'm just going to do the outside of my butterfly right now. and I can keep getting more color, but less is more. Honestly, you can always come back and go over it. You can't really get rid of it if you put too much down. But it's so satisfying. It truly is. And then I just want a little bit to go over the inside of the butterfly. Right? Super cool. Super simple. You can then go over it with Wink of Stella if you want a little bit of glimmer. You don't have to. And I'm going to leave Mr. Hedgehog alone. Oops, and then I need to clean this. Try and get in the habit of cleaning it before you put the cap back on. And always put the cap on. It will dry out. And you are good to go. They come in a package of 3. So if you have not done coloring, or you've thought about it, but you're just kind of, I don't know where to start, and it's so expensive, start with this. Start with the watercolor pencils and the blender pens, and you will love it. Okay, enough about my coloring, because I love to color. So this is going to go here now, right? I'm going to use some of my Stampin' Dimensionals on the back of Miss Hedgehog. And then I'm going to put my bow. And this ribbon that, and the link to Missy, they're not expensive. I have the supply list that I will upload for you with all the prices and stuff. As soon as we're done with the video, it'll be right below this. If I put it up early, then it gets lost on the Facebook page, but I put it in the comments of the video, and then you can find it. What was I going to show you? Oh, the ribbon. The ribbon's on sale. It's the Pale Papaya. Whoops, where are you? Which is right here. And this isn't going to be around forever. So what I did was I take a loop. If you taught your kids how to tie their sneakers with bunny ears, this is a bunny ears knot. You take 2 loops, bunny ears, circle around, and then tuck the ear through the little center loop, the hole, and pull. And it comes out crooked, but then you're gonna adjust it and adjust it till you get it where you want it. Pull it tight, adjust a little, kind of play with it. Then you're gonna take your good ribbon scissors. These are the ones that you hurt people if they touch your stuff, so that they're still sharp. Yep. Because your paper scissors will not cut this stuff. It'll just make it shred. So there's my ribbon into my bow. It was super easy. And then I'm going to take my glue dot, and I'm going to, because this is a pretty heavy bow, this ribbon's pretty thick, I'm going to put 3. 1 on the middle, 1 on each tail, right at the top. See it? And then we're going to pop you down right here. And there you go. There is our sweet, sweet little hedgehog girl using this die. Just, love it. Think about how many places you could use all of those dies. And then remember, you have that little piece that came out after. This was like the throwaway piece. Now it's gorgeous. We're not going to throw that away. So that could go down here even. It could go on another card. Alrighty. A couple things I want to share with you. Some of my longtime customers have been suggesting that my tutorials should be in the classroom, or should be available just as a tutorial. Maybe you don't want a full class. Maybe you don't need all the supplies. You'll buy the supplies that I tell you need to make the card yourself, and then you just want the directions. So I've started. It's a process. It's going to take me a little bit. I have a ton of tutorials, but I want them updated, so I want them to reflect what's currently available. I don't want to show you something that you can't have, because you'll just be mad. So they're going to be at caramiller.com. You'll see them under tutorials. They're downloadable. They're completely detailed to help you make the cards. All the cuts are there, the instructions, photos of the finished card, and photos of the cutting. So let me know what you think. There's a free one there for you to try it out too.